Stop using so many brain cells. You don't have very many of them. Stop wasting them on analysis. You don't need any brains whatsoever to do this. 0 brain cells. And I like that because I only have so many brain cells in a day, and once I use them all up, then I'm comatose and I'm worthless, right? At the end of the day, you fall down on the couch and you're done. You got nothing left. So I don't want to get to that point by noon. I want to have enough for my kids after work. So it's Jerry Norton here, and when it comes to wholesaling real estate, one of the biggest things people get tripped up on is the analysis. Now, when I say analysis, I'm talking about comping properties, getting to an ARV, after repair value. How do we determine the offer price? What is our maximum allowable offer? It's the whole part of the step where we're trying to figure out what is a good price that if I can get the deal at that number, I can turn around and wholesale it for a profit. When we look at our steps of doing a deal, you got to find the deal, you got to analyze it, you got to make an offer, you got to find a buyer, and then you assign your deal and you get paid. Like, that's the breakdown of what a wholesale deal looks like. And again, this is the part where everybody gets tripped up on. I got this question the other day. It says, I noticed I spend a lot of time comping more than anything else. Numbers are all over the place. From realtors to wholesalers to Zillow, PropWire, Redfin, and more. It always seems so hard to get close to accurate ARV. How can I handle this situation better? So this is the analysis paralysis, or paralysis analysis. Which one is it? I don't know which one it is. But it's getting hung up on the analysis. Now, if you're a type A personality, if you're detail oriented, this is going to be extra tricky for you because in your mind, you're thinking that you have to be very specific, very accurate, very detailed. And that's not the case when it comes to making an offer. Now, there's a really big principle that you have to take away that I hope I can convey in this video. In order to really understand analysis, you have to understand the big picture about making offers. Okay? If you don't understand the offer process, then you're going to always be over-analyzing deals. So let's talk about offers for a second. The reason why we make an offer is not to get a deal. That would be the byproduct of making an offer. That would be, a win. That would be like, gravy on top or a cherry on top, right? If we could actually get the offer accepted. But in wholesale real estate, we're dealing with distressed properties and distressed sellers. The purpose of making an offer is to uncover motivation. Okay, remember this. The purpose of making an offer is not to get a deal, it's to uncover motivation. Meaning, we're gonna make a low offer to a seller, and we're gonna see if the seller's motivated by how they respond to that offer. If they respond favorably, then great, we can see if we can put a deal together. If they don't respond favorably to that offer, then clearly they're not motivated, they're looking for a retail price, and that's not what we're going after. Okay, that's why we do it. So if that's the purpose of making an offer is to uncover motivation, then initially it doesn't really matter so much how accurate your number is. It just needs to be low enough to get a response. Once we get a response, then we can determine from there if we need to do further analysis. This will eliminate 95% of the work when it comes to analyzing deals. And I'm going to illustrate this on the whiteboard here so you can really grasp this idea, okay? But the way I look at it is there are 2 phases. Phase 1 is a quick analysis. Now, the quick analysis is to get to what I call down and dirty number. It just needs to be a number that I know if they, out of the blue, just take that number, I got a home run deal. More than likely, they're going to say no, or they're going to counter that number. That's the purpose, right? So I just want to get to a quick, down and dirty number that literally can take seconds to a few minutes to get to. I'm going to show you how we do this. Then, let's say that they respond favorably. Let's say that they say yes, or let's say that they counter in some way reasonably close to it. Well, then we can take a minute and we can do phase 2, which is a detailed analysis. A detailed analysis means we're going to factor in ARV, after repair value. We're going to look at recently sold homes that are totally fixed up in the same neighborhood that have sold recently. Now, that takes a little bit of work. You got to know how to do that. You got to have some skill set around that. Super valuable skill. You're going to have to learn that. Not right now, not initially. You don't need to know that. Okay, so let's set that aside. Also detailed is repairs. How much money is it going to take to fix this house up so that it will sell at that ARV number? There are 2 things for a detailed analysis: ARV, which is comping like properties that are fixed up, and repairs. What is it going to cost to fix it up to hit that ARV number? Those are two skills that you have to learn if you want to do a detailed analysis and get an accurate buy price. Once we know the ARV, once we know the repairs, we can run a basic formula to get down to an offer price, but that's not right now. Let's set that aside for a second. Let's go back to this one right here, a quick analysis. Again, initially, we're making the offer, uncover motivation, see if they want to dance, and then go to phase 2, hopefully. Okay, so let's look at this scale right here. Okay, now I made these numbers up, but they're actually fairly accurate in most cases. Let's say that we're looking at a deal and the ARV is $200,000. Okay, that's what the subject property will sell for once it's fixed up for top market value based on comparables in the same neighborhood that have recently sold. And let's say that the as-is value as it sits in its current condition is $150,000. Let's say that it's livable or dated or original condition or rent ready, right? It's not hammered. I mean, we get properties like that. But let's just say in this situation that the as-is value is $150,000. Well, if the as-is value is $150,000 and we're a wholesaler and we're going to bring this deal to a cash buyer, we have to get it at a bigger discount so that when we bring it to the cash buyer, it's at enough of a discount where they'll want it, where they can buy it and have room for upside. They can either wholesale it or what I call a takedown, which is just resell it at the as-is value. Maybe you do that, but you would need to get it at a discount, or they're going to take it all the way and they're going to rehab it and sell it for ARV. Either way, it has to be at a bigger discount. So let's say then that that exit number or that cash buyer number is $100,000. Meaning if a cash buyer in the market could pick up this deal for $100,000, they could turn around and resell it for $150,000. They could turn around and rehab it and sell it for $200,000. Either way, but they'll pay $100,000. Now, is it 105? Is it 110? Is it 95? That's not the point. The point is, follow me here at how we're getting down to where we need to be. Let's say the exit number or the cash buyer price is 100,000. Well, that means then if I'm on a wholesale, then my zone, my deal zone, I call it, is somewhere in here. Let's call it 75,000. Meaning, if I can get the deal for 75,000, I can take it to a cash buyer for 100,000. That would be a $25,000 wholesale. Cash buyer is going to buy it for 100. They're going to do their thing. So around 75,000, maybe it's 70, maybe it's 80, but see, in this zone right here is where I've got a deal, and I'm really excited about this deal. I'm buying it steep enough to wholesale it. Well, then that's not where I want to make my offer. That's where I want to land with my buy price. So that means I might make an offer, and we call this the anchor. I might anchor at around 50,000, maybe 60,000, but somewhere down there is where I'm going to anchor. Meaning what I'm going to say to a seller is I'm going to say, listen, Mr. Seller, in the perfect world, I would need to be around $50,000 on this deal. Now, the seller is going to say, no, I can't go that low. And then we're going to say, okay, how close to that number can you get? And then we're going to try to work up. We have room, a little bit of wiggle room. We're going to come up and try to land somewhere around 75,000. Okay, so this would be if everything kind of penciled exactly this way. I'm using this for illustration purposes, but here's the point. Here's the takeaway, guys, is who cares what the ARV is? Who cares? We don't need to know that. All I really need to know is, man, if this thing's got an as-is value of 150, which I'll show you how to very quickly get to that number. If this thing's got an as-is value of around 150, I need to be about half that. I need to be around 75,000 so that I can take it to a cash buyer for around 100,000. Now again, I'm ballparking right now, and then I'm going to anchor lower than that. So I might be making an offer that's 50, 40% of the as-is value. Now, let's say, hypothetically, that this is a situation. This is actually going to be, what I'm about to tell you is very, very common. This is going to be 99% of people you talk to, agents or direct to seller. And the as-is the ask price or the list price. So let's take an on-market deal. Let's say it's with an agent. The agent lists it for the as-is value, right? Makes sense. They're going to try to sell it for its current market value. Okay, so that as-is value, or sometimes, let's say it's a private seller, this would be the Zillow number, right? So the Zillow number is 150, or an agent's asking price, the list price is 150. Okay, so I'm looking at this listing right now, it's for 150. I know that's the current market value. Do I need to do a detailed analysis right now? No. Why? Because I know I have to be significantly lower than their ask price. If that's the price the seller throws out to me, or if that's the list price with an agent. I don't need to comp it. I don't need to figure out, okay, well, tell me about how old is the roof and how old is the furnace, and can you take pictures for me of the cabinets? I don't need to know any of that right now. All I need to know is, are they motivated? What is the only way, the only real way to know if a seller's motivated? There's only one way to know. They can tell you they're motivated. You can do all the 4 pillars. You can do condition and is there some kind of distress and is there urgency and all of that. That's all fine. If you want to uncover all that, that's fine. There's one way that will tell you right out of the gate if they're motivated. You say, I need to be around $50,000 for this to work, and see what they do. Now, if they come back and they say, hell no, go pound sand, go play in traffic, go jump off a bridge, okay, they're not motivated, move on. If they say, you know what, there's no way they can do 50, but I think they would do 100. Now, what did you just discover? They're at 150, they came all the way down to 100. Now, that's still not a deal because I got to exit at 100, but what did I just uncover? Motivation. They want to dance. They want to get a deal done. They did a huge reduction. Now I know I've got somebody that's motivated. Now, even though it's not a deal yet at 100 probably, now I can move to phase 2. I can say, okay, well, let me get my exact number because I know they're motivated. Now I'll spend the time comping and looking at ARV. Now I'll find out about repairs and get a better number. Now I can run my ARV formula to determine what is an accurate offer number, but not until I've discovered or uncovered motivation. Let's say that I anchor at 50 and they're listed at 150 and they come down to like 75. Like they just drop like a rock right down to 75. What do we do now? Okay, well now we know they're super motivated. Now we would say, you know what, I might be able to make 75 work. I don't know. Let's look at this a little bit closer. Talk to me more about the repairs. Maybe you find out that it's gutted down to the studs and 75 is not even a deal and you got to be at 30, right? But you're not uncovering that until when? Phase 2. We don't go to phase 2 until we've at least discovered that there's motivation. Now, if you follow this mindset around phase 1 is quick, it's down and dirty, I'm going to anchor low, I'm going to see what they do, and then we'll go from there and move to phase 2. This will eliminate, I'm telling you, 95% of the work that you're doing right now. It will cut everything down tremendously. You can get to your offer numbers very, very quickly. So here's what I've done. I built this brand new calculator. It's a new way that I've been doing this now for about a year. And what I do, first I figure out the as-is value. Now, what is the as-is value? Again, that's the current condition. And Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com, they have come a long way on their estimated value. So if you go on each one of those, Zillow calls it a Zestimate, Redfin calls it a Redfin estimate, and Realtor.com calls it a real estimate. They got their own little names for it. But they've invested millions of dollars. They look at thousands and millions of data points to try to determine value on property. So if you take your address and you go to each one of those, Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com, what we're going to do is we're going to grab each one of those numbers that they've determined the value is, that's the as-is value, and we're going to pop that into my calculator, all 3 of those numbers. Now, my calculator is going to take the average, so it's going to get to the average of these. Now we can feel like pretty good about our as-is value. Then what we're going to do is my calculator is going to take a percentage off of that to determine the exit price. So step 1 is what is the average as-is value. Step 2 is what's the exit price. This is based on price point because as properties go up in price, the exit percentage that a cash buyer wants gets smaller. Now that's our exit number. That's the number we need to take it to the cash buyer at. Then step 3, we have to back out our wholesale price. What do we want to make? So we subtract 25,000 or whatever our wholesale number is, and that gets us to our buy price. Okay, and that gets us to our buy price. Now, again, you don't need any brains whatsoever to do this. 0 brain cells. And I like that because I only have so many brain cells in a day, and once I use them all up, then I'm comatose and I'm worthless, right? At the end of the day, you fall down on the couch and you're done. You got nothing left, okay? So I don't want to get to that point by noon. I want to have enough for my kids after work. So this is so brain dead easy because the calculator does all the work. All you have to do is input 3 numbers: Realtor, Redfin, and Zillow. That's it. Because once you have all the preset formulas, it'll tell you instantly what your buy price is. Then you're gonna anchor a little bit below that, and that's your offer. Okay, and this is how you rapid fire offers. Now, do I do this before I get on the phone? If it's an agent, I do this before I talk to the agent. Why? Because I already know the starting point. I already know their list price because it's a listing, so I know where they're at. So then what I'll do is I'll run my down and dirty phase 1 quick analysis using the as-is formula, my calculator. Then I get to that number, and that's my ballpark number to the agent. So I haven't comped anything, I haven't done anything. I'll get on the phone and I'll say, hey, I see you're listed at 150,000. I'm an investor. We're probably gonna have to do some repairs on this, and I need to be somewhere around 50,000. And they're gonna go and have a heart attack, right? But that's the process. The reason why we call that agent isn't to get the deal, it's to build a relationship, because that relationship will turn into future deals. But anyway, that's what we're gonna do. If it's a seller, private seller, I don't know yet that they wanna sell most of the time. Now, if it's an inbound lead, like a PPC form from a Google ad, and they put on there their price, then great, I have a starting point. Now I can go ahead and run my quick analysis so that when I talk to them, I have a number to give them. But a lot of times with outbound marketing, like cold calling, texting, those types of strategies, we don't know. So when I'm on the phone with the seller, I'll say, hey, are you the owner of 123 Main Street? Yes, you are. Are you looking to sell that property? Yes, you are. What price are you hoping to get? 150. Okay, they looked at the Zillow number and they gave me the Zillow number. In the perfect world, I would need to be around 50,000. Oh, 50,000 is way too low for you? Well, how close to that number can you get? 75,000? We got a motivated seller. If they say, no, I can't go any lower than 150. I mean, maybe I can go down to 145. Okay, not motivated, retail. See the difference? So that's the process we use. We don't go to phase 2 until it's necessary. Everything in real estate is developmental. We do step 1, we uncover the things we need to know for step 1. Once we know step 1, we go to step 2. Everything goes in the right order. I talk to so many students that are running out and meeting a seller, and they don't even know if they've got a motivated seller. They haven't even uncovered that at all. And so you're wasting your time, or they're gonna spend hours comping properties. They're gonna spend hours estimating repairs and going and looking at properties with contractors and all this work way too soon. Again, once I get a deal, yeah, now I'm gonna do proper due diligence. Now I'm gonna verify all the things. I'm gonna make sure I understand the numbers. I'm gonna drive the comps if I need to. I'm gonna get bids on stock. I'm gonna do all that work at the right time. And the right time isn't until you've moved it to that step. Now guys, I'll give you my as-is calculator for doing these quick analysis the way I've described this. I'll give that to you for free. Why? Because I'm such an awesome, nice guy. So leave a comment and say, Jerry, you're a flipping genius. Thank you for the free calculator. I forget what the link is, but it's gonna be right here is the free download link. I'll put it in the description below as well. But go ahead and download that calculator and start doing this, and stop using so many brain cells. You don't have very many of them. Stop wasting them on analysis, okay, until you need to. And guys, I sure appreciate you. Leave a comment, let me know your biggest takeaways with this video. But get that calculator, start doing it this way, and I'll see you on the next video.